Well, welcome everyone here to the SPL Phase 1 playoffs, day number 2. Well, Sanguine are going to have to be very careful about what they're playing around. Their early game hasn't necessarily been the best. We'll have to see what they can do with it here as we jump down to game number 1 with Finch and Aggro.
As we do indeed move into Game 1 between Sanguine and Radiance. And just as Gore said, I'm joined here by Aggro. And Aggro, this is a huge set. I mean, Sanguine basically called Radiance out. They picked them over Ghost for this set. But Panatom, maybe he could be the one that gets active early, blinking in, and he wants Cyclone Spin. Great stun, though, from Aurora, but that is the last of his mana. He trades his own life to guarantee Cyclone Spin survives. But Panatom gets first blood for Sanguine.
The ability to play a little bit more aggressively and then not get punished for it. So I like the idea from Sanguine. You want to play up if Radiance isn't going to respect you, but now Radiance has kind of earned their space.
Adapting has to use Fear No Evil defensively as he's under pressure. In comes Benji trying to use the Dazzling offensive, but it's Yarkor keeping up the chase, and he's able to lock down the Monkey. That's the second kill now for Sanguine. Kraken from Shito maybe didn't do quite as much as he would have liked, but the Sanguine boys still out of there all the same, able to regroup underneath the Tier 2 tower, but not defend their blue. And I think that Sanguine think that way when they're drafting, as the action has already kicked off. Wrong-You low, but has already used Scarab's Blessing, so not much kill potential unless Cyclone Spin hits all 3 shots.
Perfect accuracy by Cyclone. This is a pick on Rom that he has looked incredibly impressive on basically since day 1 he's picked it up. I don't know that there's a free Gold Fury, though, for Radiance here, Finch. Yarkor's not here, which is sketchy.
Stacked up a bit, but they get right past the Kraken. Benji gets the kill on the Panatom. They end up losing Shinto as well, and Benji, not just on zone duty, but even had kill potential, gives up the chase onto Netroid, and instead the rest of Radiance will grab the Gold Fury. What a big swing for Radiance here around this big objective.
Up against PK yesterday, and that was what impressed me the most, I think, about Radiance's performance.
Another red buff invade attempt, but Aurora gets grabbed early. The Kraken ensures that Netroid gets the kill. Panatom in trouble up against Adapting, but Cyclone Spin ends up shooting him early. That procs the revive, so Netroid's out of there. Sanguine, they don't lose the buff, but they get the kill onto Aurora and maybe do enough where they can hold on. And they're starting it up yet again. Sanguine are nearby. Shinto has the beads available this time, so the relics should all be available, but still, it feels like Radiance hold all the cards. Aurora blinks into the backline, starts the ult. Kraken comes out early, but doesn't find any kills, and a big Fear No Evil from Adapting pushes everyone back into Radiance's waiting clutches. Benji gets the first kill, and in the ensuing 5v4, Radiance starts to position right back around the FG. Wiggle back towards the rest of the base, but Radiance still ready to try and keep up the pressure. In first is Aurora. He gets abducted. Kraken is there, but it's not enough for the kill. Panatom cleans up the work, and Adapting uses the ultimate just to isolate Yarkor. It works, and Big Man Tings gets the kill, but can Sanguine capitalize on this sudden 4v4? They're missing Yarkor, and it looks like they're ready to give up the Tier 2 on the back of it. Well, Benji teleports over to the Tier 2, but they don't let him. An Abduct comes out. Maybe a bit of a mistake. The dash gets blocked as well, so Aurora has to step in. Fear No Evil keeps Netroid out from the fight, but look at all the damage Panatom takes. Adapting gobbles up the Jingwei. Panatom does get revived, but what's he supposed to do now? He looks for Tings, but Tings has all the relics available. Adapting gets the double. Wrong-You is in the dirt, and suddenly disaster for Sanguine.
And then be able to put damage in after the fact that he's stripped away their prots. I just don't see it.
Well, Aurora blinks in right away. He gets abducted, so Adapting moves in for the Fear No Evil. Wrong-You down below half as Benji steps in to look for the low health bars. Meanwhile, Yarkor has done good work to keep multiple members out, but he can only buy so much time. Cyclone Spin clips the wings. Benji does end up falling, so it's a 4v4, and the left side Phoenix still stands, but Radiance have a ton of gas in the tank. They step forward once more and are ready to burn down the left Phoenix.
So when Wrong-You's behind, it makes your job as a frontliner a lot easier. You don't have to be as worried because you know your backliners are going to kill Wrong-You before they can kill you.
Good dash in, gets the Magai's cloak out. Aurora gets gobbled up just as we said, but does it come at a hefty cost? Panatom still being dogged in the backline. Typhoon allows him to clear some space, moves in, and finds Adapting. Netroid gets a double, but Adapting has finally taken care of Panatom, but a 2-for-1 has suddenly materialized here for Sanguine. They need to stay calm, though, in this moment where they have a small advantage. Look at their Titan. It's still being hit by minions. Sanguine have a lot to try and make sure they're keeping track of besides just this team fight, as Benji takes even more damage and Tings finds the kill.
Love what Benji's doing, just don't ever stop going in. Shinto gets sniffed out by Cyclone and Big Man. And with Netroid having to go back, that's going to open up this Fire Giant with ease.
Radiance, despite that last fight, they're not ready to let up on the pressure. Yarkor steps in right away, uses the shield to buy some more time, even gets rezzed by wrong use, so Panatom tries to move in on the back of that Typhoon, but still takes a lot of damage. Kraken, again, gets them pretty close to nada. Looks like a good Aegis from Tings is what immuned that out, but if Radiance want to keep up this pressure, they got a good chance now.
But now you're down 4 out of 5 ultimates for Sanguine, and Airstrike isn't exactly the Phoenix fighter that you're really hoping for.
Rongyu tries to find an abduct, but at this point, there's not much he's abducting them into. Tings gets himself a double. Airstrike used defensively. Good point with the Phoenix defensing viability of that is instead Sanguine completely on the back foot, rolling in aggressively as Radiance as another kill comes in for Tings. Adapting shuts down Netroid, and that is it. They take game 1 over first-seeded Sanguine.
Well, we'll have to see if this Agni's going to work or if Sanguine, as you said, have maybe picked up what they need to take this one back. We're going to go down to Finch and Aggro to take us through game number 2.
Yeah, going forward into game 3, regardless of the outcome of this game, I definitely want to see Panatom be ready for that fight, whether that's letting Yarkor solo the blue. I don't know if adapting is going for that blue early enough or not at all.
Rongyu locks down adapting in the backline. The knockup is there too, and Netroid gets first blood. Maybe that was the idea. Let some comfort in for Radiance, and then suddenly show up at the red buff.
Reduced cooldown on that ultimate every time you pick up an Astral Arrow. So you're going to get that ultimate up sooner than you used to. If you're landing every shot, I think that's viable as hello. Yarkor gets a little bit caught off guard. Benji with the silence. Stop that ultimate cast from going off in time. That's rough. Like Benji did at level 1, those trades are just going to favor Benji regardless because he's got physical protection, whereas Benji doesn't.
Yarkor pushes Benji into the tower. Panatom here as well. Dazzling offensive, well timed for the CC immunity, but even the Merlin is here as Shinte rotates over out of the middle lane, so really no world where Benji could live that one, I don't think, with 4 people coming over to gank him. Yeah, Cyclone Spin's been a little bit hard on himself here this season. We all kind of have been because he has struggled, but certainly still a high-end player with tons of top-end potential. But Aurora is the one that's in some trouble now. Does get the ultimate off in time, but there were just too many slows. Shinto gets the kill. Adapting has to retreat as well. Gets the Palau up in time to grab Shinto. And that should force the beads. It does force the beads out from Shinto, but Panatom gets the kill on Adapting the second that he lands. Now Cyclone's been in trouble, caught by that fracture. Netroid gets another kill, and Sanguine suddenly with a 3 for 0 in the early. They might even start up this Gold Fury, but they think a bit better of it. Great work. Aurora forces them to reset. So now Sanguine had to fully engage on into a more even fight. Sanguine do grab that Gold Fury. Meanwhile, Rongyu keeps everyone else zoned out. Aurora's committed a lot of his dashes as Cyclone Spin comes in with the ultimate, and look at the pop off of that ult indeed. Netroid goes down early. Panatom has to use the ultimate defensively, but a great stun from Tings locks him down. Shinto does find one trade, but Radiance find themselves a 3 for 1. Yarkor makes it 3 for 2 as Benji can't do enough to lock down Rongyu, but it's been a bloody battle.
This part of the game where you have enough damage to be able to do a whole lot, but you're still kind of in laning phase, it kind of puts you in an awkward spot.
Benji uses his ultimate to force Panatom to use his, but great awareness from Adapting to keep up the pressure. They get the kill into Panatom, so it's a 5v4 for now. Adapting's Palau doesn't get much. Let's check out these ultimates. Netroid does not have his, neither does Yarkor, which could make things scary. But Yarkor getting aggressive anyway, forces Adapting up into the Palau. Benji knocked up, so taking a bunch of damage from Netroid. That's courtesy of Rongyu. And Panatom completes the earlier work, cuts down Adapting, and the dodgy already removed. Up in the sky is Rongyu looking for a landing point, finds Panatom, gives him some shielding, but the fight largely done. Instead, Sanguine head back towards the Oni Fury, and they're burning it quick. Sanguine able to secure the objective, and Aurora, who poked his head in, has now been knocked up. He's low HP, and Rongyu closes the gap. Yarkor gets the kill, and Sanguine find a 2 for 0.
And now they're really trying to punish Radiance for losing Aurora.
Well, this is going to have to be very clean from the Sanguine boys. They have a ton of burn, yes, but Benji again lights everybody up. He has been turned around on now, though, and he's already used the Dazzling Offensive, so running low on options, it's too much damage, and Yarkor kills him, but Benji has done his job. The Fire Giant has been dropped. I know Radiance lost their solo laner, but can Sanguine really feel comfortable starting it up? I suppose the answer is yes. Fire Giant has been grabbed, adapting onto the Palau, pulls in Rongyu and Yarkor, and brings them all low, but they get the kill into adapting anyway. Rongyu still low, but right there to defend is Netroid. They have all the knockup that they need, but Cyclone Spin completes the kill. It's a double for Yarkor, and across the map, a 3 for 2 in favor of Sanguine. And they're already putting it to use, pulling the Fire Giant yet again. Yarkor up aggressively zoning, keeping Tings out from the fight. Shinto looking for the collapse, but it's more than zoning. They get the kill onto Tings. Panatom pays for it, though, with his life. He dies quickly, but Adapting uses the Palau, and he is out of the fight. Benji slowed and has to use the ultimate to try and keep up with Netroid and Rongyu, so they re-engage on the back of it and cut Benji down. Sanguine are taking these fractured fights, and they're winning all of them. Shinto burns a roar, but look at Cyclone Spin on the left side of the match. He's burned down the left side Phoenix. Sanguine would have to get the Fire Giant at this point just to try and make it an even trade.
I think they'll be able to do it, and actually, look at this! Cyclone comes over, but no, Sanguine do get Fire Giant. What an attempt by Cyclone Spin. That's actually really smart, man, because he can't be in that fight at all. He had no relics. Remember, Rongyu got them towards the back end of the last fight, but now Sanguine realizing they've got time, but maybe not enough to walk. Why not run? Why not take the bus? The quick trip through with the helicopter from Rongyu is going to get them to the mid-Phoenix and get it with ease.
Well, Radiance look like they're in a bit of a trading mood. They group up to try and grab the tier 2 tower and right. They get it, and Benji and Cyclone Spin have their backs stopped, so it will be a 3-on-3 on the left Phoenix. Aurora steps in, but takes a bunch of upfront damage, maybe expecting Cyclone Spin to get there sooner, but Adapting shuts down Netroid. Radiance have played this a bit better than Sanguine, because Cyclone can always rejoin the fight. It's a double now for Adapting as Radiance defend the left side Phoenix.
But Netroid is right next to Shinto, and Shinto never used that shell, which may have saved his Hunter's life.
Panatom looking to collapse in the back as Radiance have just grabbed the Primal Fury. Benji using the Dazzling Offensive is trying to get to the backline, but Adapting pays too much health to try and make it in. Benji sticks to Shinto, though, and gets the kill. Cyclone Spin is able to take care of Panatom. Remember, Rongyu and Netroid were never a part of this engagement. Radiance had all this extra numbers to help them out, so it is a 2-for-1 favoring Radiance, but Sanguine now struggling in what should have been Fire Giant time. Instead, they've lost 2 fights to Radiance. Things are pretty close. That's why Sanguine trying to start up this Fire Giant. They know that they need a big difference maker here aggro. They want to lock down Benji first. Not a lot of damage there. So Yarkor looks to frontline instead. Starts pushing in to Radiance. Rongyu takes to the skies. They know that Aurora is low, but so is Shinto. And his life is so important at this point. That's why Adapting all in commits and gets the kill. In the backline, Yarkor drops his ultimate. That does make it a 1-for-1 trade. And Aurora sticks around with his low HP bar. So Netroid is able to clean him up. So far, 3 for 2, favoring Sanguine, and Big Main Tings is stuck in between everyone, wants to trade his life for Panatom's, but isn't able to find it, but does set up for Benji to get it. At this point, can you really call it a winner? Everybody gonna end up falling this time. A 4 for 3, and still Benji battles on.
Mutually assured destruction in that team fight. That's all that's really happening between Sanguine and Radiance at this point. Maybe Benji's got the damage. I think he does to take down Yarkor, so it really ends up in a 4 for 4.
Yeah, especially compared to the slower pace of Game 1, at least kill-wise, this is a big change in pace. But doesn't this game feel really important? It's going to be so hard to beat Radiance if they drop 0-2 in this set. That's why Sanguine start up the FG again. It's down to half. Aurora has already blinked, does get the ultimate off onto 4 people, and Netroid rather takes a ton of early damage, but when Adapting tries to find his way in, Shinto still has the flicker and is able to reposition. Cyclone Spin ults too. Shinto just has not gotten to live through these fights so far. Into the backline goes Benji, but Cyclone Spin is stuck in between everyone. Yarkor gets the kill. Benji falls as well. Now Yarkor leaps over the wall to try and hunt down Adapting. Radiance commit too much to kill Shinto, and the rest of Sanguine are here to clean up.
Beautiful turnaround. Yarkor's having a phenomenal game on this Nike jungle.
Oh, no
Great
dash
heads-up awareness by Netroid, and takes out the Monolith and takes out Aurora on top of that. And this should be Fire Giant now. Big Man does have his relics, but he's got a Pele in between him and the objective. It's a little bit harder, I think, for Radiance to Deathball.
Netroid has been caught out by Benji, but it's Benji who's maybe been caught out. Wrongyu comes up over the wall. Netroid tries to ult Big Man Tings at full HP way at the back of the fight instead of helping to kill Benji. Good thing is Benji dies anyway. Adapting falls to Shinto, and Netroid still stands tall at the back of the fight. Shinto flickers aggressively behind Tings and is able to output more damage. He does lose his life, but Netroid cuts down Cyclone Spin, converts it into a double by shutting down Aurora, and suddenly Sanguine have a chance to just end this game. It's only Tings to try and defend.
Just an odd decision by Benji there to go in and try and find that kill on the Netroid when the rest of his team was just way too far behind. Benji picks a bad fight, and Radiance are going to have to try and reset. We're back to best of 3 territory, fellas, just like the regular season.
Well, it's time to see whether or not they can show that same prowess, or if Sanguine are maybe going to be able to take this one and turn it all around from game number 1 the way Radiance did yesterday. So once again, we're going down to Finch and Act.
Wrongyu, though, getting aggressive yet again with this Horus in the early game, but now Cyclone Spin has these Astral Arrows for the response, and Wrongyu is suddenly in kill threshold. He gets the counter blink, though. He wasn't in combat. What? Wrongyu able to live.
Before Wrongyu was able to blink out, and now it's Panatom's turn to come to the left. Yeah, first of all, that was sick by Aurora. He actually blocked the fracture that was going to hit Cyclone Spin with his wall, which is bonkers to me. So, surprise. Yeah, I was going to say, got to check the purple. Spawned right in front of him.
Well, looks like Cyclone Spin heard the spin, perhaps, and goes up into his ultimate, but Aurora is the one that gets locked down. He didn't have any backup for 2 seconds. That was all the time that Sanguine needed to spring the jaws of the trap shut. First blood for Sanguine.
He just died so quickly, and then Sunbreaker's still going to stick around.
Cyclone Spin and Adapting, though, want to try and run this one back. Netroid with the dive bomb goes up, tries to use the knockup to provide some extra clearance, but there's no way you're getting away from the Powwow. Wrongyu uses his own to the skies. The Oracles do belong to Radiance, so they've got the permanent vision and deny it to Sanguine more importantly as they pull the Gold Fury again. It's down to half. Aurora steps forward, and the Suns come out from Netroid, but Adapting is already behind him. Here come the snipes from Cyclone Spin and Netroid in the dirt already, and the sky is Panatom, but there was nowhere good for him to gank. He ends up getting pulled back in anyway as Wrongyu goes in. They bring Adapting down low and make it 1-for-1. A perfectly calculated, in air quotes, apple there as it bounces over to Aurora and brings him down low too. But Radiance continue to pull the Fury. They finally drop it as Sanguine shows some more presence.
But Nike can get into that backline a little bit more easily with the quick jump, the blink, and the movement speed that Yarkor has been building.
Gold Fury down to half, and Aurora gets caught out in the front line. He gets popped very early on. Panatom in the sky waits on Cyclone Spin to land, but cannot find the dunk. Can't find the hammer either. Cyclone Spin with the turn and burn. Sets up for Tings to get 1. Benji gets a second as he shuts down Netroid. So 2 for 2 so far, but Benji on a mission, hunting down Shinto with Adapting, helping out, and Shinto cannot live through it all. They trade the tower aggro perfectly and cut down the Discordia. Radiant have found a way to somehow turn this fight into their favor, but now they're deep in the enemy jungle. Yarkor is hunting Adapting at this point to not let him find a back. They might not get away with this for free.
Adapting should be out. Big Man Ting steps up to give him a teleport target, and that'll be the end of that chase, I believe, onto Adapting, at least so I thought. I can't imagine a world in which Yarkor is actually able to catch and kill in this moment, and now that is an overextension by Sanguine. Jumps coming up from Yarkor, but you could basically input a roll before you hit the ground and roll out really quickly. It's hard to land.
Wow, that wall looked like it locked down Benji for a moment, but instead it just kept him in the front line to keep getting aggressive. The tier 1 tower falls and Radiance in further control. Another ultimate from Panatom that gets almost no value as Netroid is isolated as well. He does drop down the Suns, but the rest of Sanguine cannot capitalize. Instead of the well-oiled machine we saw in Game 2, this one much more creaky and disjointed. Radiance starting to pick them apart, but Adapting oversteps, I misspeak. He catches Shinto perfectly as they continue to manage their HP bars perfectly. He finally ends up falling to Yarkor, but I think he's largely happy with that trade.
It's been the same comp for Radiance, and they still don't know how to beat it.
Well, Fire Giant started by Radiance, but look at how spread out they are. 2 on the objective, 2 members that are spaced out in 1 zoning. That leaves Yarkor stuck in the middle, so he jumps forward and gets a brand new health bar with the Sentinel Azus. Panatom goes looking for Tings in the back line, but that Aegis buys him a ton of time. Panatom saves the hammer the whole time and still manages to get out. Cyclone Spin falls as well. Netroid gets Aurora. Adapting still has Palau at the end of the fight. It does buy him some time and get him the kill onto Wrong You, but Yarkor shuts him down for the double. Shinto puts Benji into the dirt, and just when we question Sanguine, they flip on the switch and find the 5-for-1. Things will be A-okay, so Radiance manufacture a way to trade out of tier 2, but Sanguine are right in. Panatom went up, dunks down right onto Cyclone Spin and forces him out, and he doesn't even get up to the sky. Panatom gets the kill credit there. Meanwhile, Netroid is somehow still alive. Adapting finally rectifies that, but that leaves Benji way out on his own. He makes his way back underneath the Phoenix. It's 1-for-1, hunter for hunter, but Wrong You with 20% HP blinks in, nearly pays for it right away as a Roar narrowly avoids the strife. Sanguine are walking a very thin tightrope.
It's one of the few low commit CCs that Radiance has, and I wouldn't even argue that's that low of a committal. You're using your dash
Right.
in order to get it, which is certainly scary.
Aurora, though, stepping on the gas. They must have seen something they liked. The beads come out from Shinto very early on as Big Man Tings is in trouble, but so is Shinto way in the back. Adapting, able to make that kill happen. But the second that he lands, there should be a threat from the rest of Sanguine. Netroid gets the kill, but Adapting posthumously gets the double, and they're able to lock down Panatom as well. This could suddenly turn into not just a fight win, but a game win for Radiance. They've made it a 3-for-1, but Sanguine regroup. They still have Yarkor and Wrong You, the frontline team, to try and hold on to this win as Radiance head towards FG.
But if you take out Cyclone and Big Man in that fight, Radiance is pretty much hamstrung. They can't do fire.
Sanguine are delayed on their defense, but they do make it in time. Aurora takes a ton of damage, and Wrong You kills him right away. The dunk from Panatom does land on the Cyclone Spin, but that's about all as Panatom's on the retreat. But Benji will fall too. The front line for Radiance has entirely buckled. Adapting, continuing to run, but his beads now forced out. Sanguine may have been late to the party, but they brought all the snacks. They blow up Radiance, but Adapting has to turn around. Netroid falls as well. But overall, it's a 3-for-1 in favor of Sanguine.
Like that on whether or not you're waiting for Oni waves or trying to get that Phoenix quickly before they're out in position, and sometimes they're wrong.
Well, Yarkor pulls the trigger in the right lane, and Cyclone Spin is low. The Panatom dunk, though, a little bit too late, so Cyclone Spin makes it to the sky. But what about when he lands? The wall does not catch him, so Cyclone Spin does great work to avoid the entirety of Sanguine's backline dive. Now it's Adapting's turn. He forces Relic from the backline, but Sanguine can reinitiate with this to the skies Horus ultimate. They lose Yarkor right away, and Radiance withstand it all. Yarkor saw Cyclone Spin alone in right, but they could not capitalize. And I think that's part of the reason why Radiance have prioritized this pick as the Fire Giant gets started up once again. Fire Giant now down to about half, so Wrong You feels forced to step in. He gets the knockup, but he is just being shredded in the backline by Cyclone Spin. Another easy kill for the ROM player as Shinto gets popped by Big Man Tings. This game has been very close until now, but Radiance are done with close. They'll burn the Fire Giant as well and get ready for another siege.
Basically, he's looked really good on this pick. Him and Ven have really been the only two who play it consistently, but they make it look good.
We gotta follow Panatom here. Where he goes with this dunk is so critical, but Cyclone Spin responds by heading up with his own ult, and Aurora uses the time to get to the backline and blow up Netroid. So still, Sanguine brought down to just 2 members to try and defend. Cyclone Spin makes quick work of the middle Phoenix. That has been taken as well, as Radiance play this one cautiously without adapting. They start to slow down, regroup. They know there's no relics or Big Man Tings. Plus, look at this minion wave in left. It's threatening that left side Phoenix. Radiance can't just freely push damage in mid. They have a lot to consider. This left side Phoenix siege, it might just be everything here for Sanguine. Wrong You goes up to the skies right away. Old Sandin forced out the dash from Big Man Tings. Benji doesn't find a lot with his ultimate either, so Netroid steps forward to put out some damage. They're trying to lock down Benji, but they don't have the potential. Meanwhile, Adapting wins the 1v1 against Panatom in mid. Big plays being made by the dodgy pilot from Radiance is now with the 5v4 advantage. They can regroup and look to re-siege left.
Man, if we made skins for winning the playoff series, then this would be a Radiance .G skin coming soon. Adapting's been nailing it.
And Rongyu gets melted by those Agni Bombs. What were you saying about Big Man Tings' damage? Because it looked pretty good to me. Yarkor now starting to buckle as well as he's pushed further and further from range of contest. Radiance take the left side Phoenix, but again, they show some patience. They're going to heal up and try and sustain around this Terra.
Perfect timing for this minion wave to spawn as well. Cyclone's going to be full HP by the end of it. This should be game 3.
It absolutely should. Sanguine only have Shinto, Yarkor, and Netroid, and not really any ultimates to speak of to try and defend. It's just Yarkor's that could potentially be helpful, but there's no way that it is enough. That's game number 3 and the 2-1 in favor of Radiance. But this set is not over yet, Aggro. We still got to get that all-important 3rd win, but right now Radiance looking pretty good.
Well, it's time to see if they can prove us wrong. It's time for them to do so, because otherwise they're knocked out of the bracket, and the first seed curse maybe comes true here. Radiance looking for game number 3 right now.
You still force Big Man back to base, whereas Shinto has been out and farming and being effective anyways.
Up into the Taiko drums goes Shinto for the CC immunity and for all of this damage. This is another big part of what makes Raijin scary, but Adapting doesn't care. He goes right through it with some help from Big Man Tings. Ganesh silence.
Just perfect mechanics from that position, honestly. He cancels his 2 properly. The 1 was there on time. Beautiful.
Panatom, knowing that he's going to get pulled, use the Typhoon, but it's just so much damage from the Daji. If she knows where you're standing, good luck getting it away. So Yarkor wants to get this kill in the Big Man Tings, makes it happen with the dive, and then goes into the ultimate. Perhaps he could track down Adapting behind the tier 2 tower, but a blink still available, and now Yarkor should be dead to rights way beyond the tier 2 tower. I like the idea, but he just couldn't find it.
Benji's still able to clean up Rongyu in the mid lane, and now Yarkor is dead. To Cyclone spins eventual rotation in. Cyclone helps Benji get 1 kill, and now comes over and is going to be able to help set up another or snag it for himself. He'll choose the latter.
They certainly could be up more if they were able to convert off that great play Netroid made, but they're not in a bad spot as Aurora loses half his health. Adapting gets aggressive, trading onto Panatom, will now go up on the Palau for another free kill. This Daji is looking really oppressive.
It really is. I mean, he's doing enough damage that I'm surprised that there's not a heavier commitment.
Will be a part of this fight. As you highlighted, we haven't seen them here for minute 1 yet, so this could be particularly telling. The Fury now down to about half, and it's held by Radiance. But up to the sky goes Cyclone Spin. Panatom is already removed. He will die with the Typhoon up and never getting that value. Now Rongyu in trouble. A double kill for Adapting on the Daji as he continues to dominate Sanguine, but Yarkor steps in. Shinto puts into the damage onto Benji, and suddenly it is a 2-for-1. Maybe Sanguine could stick around on this Fury after all.
It's a really good poke onto Yarkor by Benji. That's actually super relevant here, and look at all the space that Radiance has.
They drop the Fury instead. They look for the fight. Adapting goes up to the Palau, but doesn't get as much value this time. He commits and gets the kill on the Rongyu, but finally Panatom gets to live through the fight. Radiance takes the Fury, but Benji takes Panatom's life. Yarkor in the thick of it ends up dying, but Shinto does take care of Adapting, but it's a 3-for-1 plus the Fury for Radiance. They're in dominant control at this point, and Sanguine are completely on the back foot. It's just the back line that's still alive. And now Radiance will start up the Fire Giant. Yarkor and Rongyu back in position. They're trying to frontline it up, but Rongyu again takes so much free poke. He can barely even make it out. Adapting gets the kill for it. And yet again, Sanguine are in a 4v5, but they're ready to commit. Typhoon from Panatom does hit nearly everybody in the backline, so Yarkor goes into his ultimate. He knocks up a couple members. Benji is low too, but they're not able to find the kill. But at the very least, Radiance can't do FG. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this. This is like a boxing match where they get a lot of hits but no significant strikes. I mean, Sanguine are very much in this game, despite how one-sided it has looked. And now Benji getting locked down. Good ultimate from Aurora. Hasn't had to use it a lot, but this time it keeps Benji alive. So Sanguine relent on the pressure, but so do Radiance. They're no longer threatening the Fire Giant. They're just full-on backing up. Radiance are trying to prove the exact opposite, so with all of this floating around, How do Sanguine stay so calculated? Dharmic Pillars does collect 3. Typhoon hits 3, and suddenly Radiance are in the grass. But look at Panatom in the backline. Radiance have caught up to him, and Adapting burns him quickly. But Netroid makes him pay for it. Benji has low health bars. So do a lot of members of Radiance, but it keeps being Sanguine that falls. But Shinto finally gets to Aurora, and Radiance are full on the back foot. Netroid used the ultimate just to close the gap, and that does allow him to get the kill onto Benji. It's a 3 for 2 in favor of Sanguine.
I think Yarkor has had a fantastic game so far, by the way, on this Yorm. He's created so much space, and really, when the jungler is having trouble diving, it makes the solo laner's job very hard because it's easy to just get focused. Yarkor has done a great job of not letting that happen.
Benji and Roran Adapting all move in to try and contest the objective. Meanwhile, Yarkor kept everyone else at bay. So Adapting is going to get up to the Powwow, but Tings won't be in position to follow up. Shinto is patient with the Taiko drums, and Adapting ends up getting barrel stuffed. Aurora is trying to run away, but has to use Scarab's Blessing on himself, and Radiance are done. They've washed their hands of it. Sanguine grabbed the Oni Fury. That means now they'll have pressure in all 3 waves when they look for this next dance around the FG. Sanguine rush right over to start up the FG with these Oni minions starting to pour across the map, but they still don't have a lot of their best ultimates up. They're still waiting on Taiko drums, and still waiting on Netroid's ultimate, and Yarkor is taking a lot of poke. As soon as his ultimate's up, he disengages, but Cyclone Spin cuts down Panatom elsewhere on the map. We've talked constantly about his struggles this game, and when they need him most in the late game, he ends up getting soloed out. Now Sanguine have to try and defend the FG at a numbers disadvantage. Benji steps forward, the silence is damning. Big mantle proc, but Shinto ends up getting the kill. Radiance take the Fire Giant though, and Sanguine now have to decide, do they fight or do they disengage? Well, Radiance won't give them the choice. Rongyu pulled back in, and Cyclone Spin finds another kill. Now Adapting, getting aggressive, looking for Yarkor, up onto the Powwow and cutting him down as well. This looked like a great game for Sanguine, but this might be their final collapse.
Might be, but here comes Netroid around the corner, but it's him who meets the grave. Scarab's Blessing was there just in case, but Big Man brought the damage, and now it's Shinto and Panatom with phase 1 on the line for Sanguine.
They managed to find the 1 seed after all of the doubters, but could Sanguine be going home here and now before they even make it to the finals? Radiance are right outside the Titan room trying to find a way in, but it looks like they're easing up. Sanguine have done enough, at least for now, to slow them down, and Radiance are going to full-on disengage. Sanguine now in full defense mode around their tier 2. This game is virtually even, and Yarkor goes in, knocks up 2 members onto the Dharmic Pillar, and it's Cyclone Spin and Tings. They're low in the backline right away. Benji keeps getting pulled back in by Shinto, and Panatom steps up, cuts down Cyclone Spin. Adapting falls to Shinto, and Yarkor is still in the backline. Big Man Tings is low, gets the res out from Aurora, but no one's going to proc it. This might be Sanguine's opportunity to start pushing forward.
Big Man still in trouble. Blink coming up for Panatom in 4 seconds, and Flicker should be around that same cooldown. Now maybe it's Sanguine's turn to try and end the game.
It certainly could be, but this is the 5v3. It's equally risky, and 2 members have the Fire Giant. Mid-Phoenix is going to come down very, very quickly for Sanguine, and now they've got a call to make. Will Sanguine choose to try and push into the Titan without their ultimates? Yarkor is low already. Rongyu moves in. It looks like the call is to try and snatch away this game, but it's not an all-in commit. Now Shinto moves in aggressively, looking to see if he can find Benji way in the backline, but it costs him his life. Sanguine in a big-time moment. They hesitate and falter, and Radiance are still in it.
A little bit spooky for Aurora to dash in, but look at this. Adapting finds Panatom.
And gets the better of the trade. Cyclone Spin ults as well, and suddenly Panatom dies with Blink beads and the ultimate up. They got 0 value out of him in this team fight, but what can Sanguine do? They full-on retreat, and Radiance can't all-in engage. Adapting did pay some HP to make it happen, and they have to defend their Titan. So it's still, even though Panatom gets picked again, it's not the end for Sanguine.
You've got the Heimdall wave clear is pretty solid. You got to do something like this, go in with before the wave.
Benji is the initiation first as he moves in. He wants to try and make some use of this Rage transformation, but Sanguine haven't given up any HP, and Aurora's given up a lot. He's down to half already. Adapting, looking for the 1v1 up against Panatom. He wins it yet again with a little bit of help from Cyclone Spin and the snipes this time, but the right side Phoenix still standing, and Adapting too low. Thunder Crash from Shinto catches him, and they make it 1-for-1 jungle for jungle. The clear is too strong. Radiance have not been able to force their way in yet. They got another 2 minutes to work with, though, in the Fire Giant, so plenty of time. And Benji just transformed, so this is the perfect moment. He blinks right onto Shinto, but Shinto is cool as ice. Does not overreact, and they push Benji back out. Now Adapting steps in, but Panatom has backup in the form of Shinto here this time, and Adapting does not have the damage. Benji does survive, though, thanks to getting the res, and Cyclone Spin snipes out Panatom, but Shinto kills Adapting. Tings should be able to win this battle, and they shut down Shinto. Just 3 members of Sanguine left to try and defend.
And look at Yarkor and Netrioid. They kind of wake up like, oh, we weren't even on right side Phoenix anymore. We were still defending, fellas. What happened?
Oh, big shot from Netroid. He finds the crit in the Cyclone Spin and does bring him down low. Good use of the beads there from Benji. He does not get caught by the ultimate from Netroid, but you can see how difficult, even in the 3v2, sieging is here for Radiance. And I don't think we've talked enough about how hard Jormungandr can make it with all these pools around the edge of that Phoenix line.
It's so annoying. They slow, they do a lot of damage. It's tough, man. It really is. And now Dharmic Pillars, right? When you feel like this is an easy mid-Phoenix, come right back. Now, it should be pretty easy still. There's 2 autos for Cyclone, basically, to knock this down. Finally, Radiance has broken the space once again. But this right side Phoenix attempt is going to be sketchy. Only 15 seconds until Panatom's up. 20 for Shinto.
Should have some good ultimates back up, and Benji's close to the Rage transformation, but Netroid is swinging in the late game. There's not much pressure on him. Good news is, though, for Radiance, they've already gotten the right side Phoenix. The base now cracked wide open.
From any team that's going to go on to win playoffs.
Certainly a fair point, as Sanguine are taking a fight outside of their Phoenixes at this point. The game is relatively even, I suppose, and were Radiance prepared for this? Aurora uses the ultimate on himself. Benji stuck in the Dharmic Pillars. Adapting does head to the back line to try and look for Shinto, but Shinto is out of there. Adapting gets the least value out of his ultimate that he's gotten all game, and Shinto gets the kill, but Cyclone Spin does shut down Yarkor, so that slows things down for a bit. He even gets the kill on the Netrioid.
What?
Cyclone Spin single-handedly saving the game, but rolling in was a miscalculation. Shinto gets another kill, and suddenly it's just BMT and Aurora left. But look at the minions pouring into the Titan. Sanguine can't afford to stick around. Panatom will back to defend, but why take the fight at all? So yeah, this should be pretty comfortable for Sanguine if they can clear out these next few waves. At least in terms of their Phoenixes, the fight obviously still hard as Aurora finds the abduct. Rongyu takes some damage, but Benji takes plenty too. Adapting makes his way into the fight, looks for Panatom over in left, and does successfully bully him out. But Shinto Thunder crashes in to look for the interrupt. That forces out the bead. Cyclone Spin takes care of Panatom with a well-placed snipe, but Adapting is stuck in the middle of the Dharmic Pillars. But Rongyu keeps him silenced just long enough. He's able to make it back out of there, but boy was it close. But Big Man Tings gets the kill on the Shinto. Somehow Netroid's still alive, but this has to be it. Radiance finding 3-for-0 should be able to put this game to bed, especially with Netroid dropping. It was a valiant effort from Sanguine the entirety of this phase, but Radiance would not be denied.
Man, the first seed goes down in the semifinals, and this, Finch, was the matchup they wanted. And Radiance certainly happy to oblige them with the victory. Man, was it tough for them, though.